Hello, beautiful divine beings. Have you been loving to yourself today? Have you been listening to you, to your being, to your values, to what matters to you? Have you been including yourself in all the beauty that you may want to share in the world? Hi, guys, this is Pernilla Little Rose, self-love mentor and embodiment whisperer is how I named myself years ago. And the reason I'm introducing myself as such is because today's subject will be a lot about love and self-love. When I started out as a Hakomi practitioner and I did many other things too, but a Hakomi practitioner is really what kind of filled me out to really bring out what I'm doing now. And eventually I started calling myself a self-love mentor because I could see how important that had been in my life to really own myself on a whole new level and be myself and feel comfortable being me, even feeling comfortable with the parts that were not comfortable being me yet. You see, it's a kind of an expansion of the love that I already am, that we already are, that learns to include and include and include. When I started out, I really knew that self-love was like the magic pill or the secret sauce to really bring all of ourselves home. But honestly, I did not know how important and how encompassing it is as I do now, because I have been deepening in that practice, deepening in sharing it, deepening in working with other people, helping them embody that. And it seems like as I'm embodying it and as it keeps expanding, you cannot get around self-love if you want to feel whole, complete, and connected, or having an intimate connection with the divine. The only place where suffering exists or where pain exists, whether it's physical or emotional, mental, the only place where lack and limitation exist is outside of love. Now, you may have heard that before, or you may say, yeah, that makes sense. Accepting it up here is very important for most of us in the beginning. It's like we need to accept something as a new reality, as a new truth, as a new way of being, because if our mind rejects it, we're not going to bring it in. We're not going to start embodying it. We just keep it up there like, well, maybe I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do that. So it does not become our reality. And I'm not saying there is a magic switch where when you accept that and overnight, all your problems are gone. That's not in my experience. And there's still an integration of parts that I am still unconsciously keeping somewhere there. There might still be layers of contraction that I don't even know about yet, or I haven't been able to fully embrace them yet because they're kind of, they're not fully here. And I know we all have that. People who've worked on this for years and years, and most of us have, especially if you are on this channel, we go like, why is it not changing? Why? And I don't know why. I know in my own experience, I just stay in that place of curiosity and openness and open prayer to receive, to learn, to bring in that love, to see where am I not yet fully loving parts of myself. When you start loving the parts of yourself that you have been trying to get rid of, have been resisting, trying to fix, all these things, the love that you already are, it just starts filling yourself up from the inside out. And when you start feeling that sense of love in your body, we can call it self-love because it is our true self. It's not like, I'm here and then love there and I bring it in. No, I already am that love. And that is what I clearly realized many years ago when I had my first big spiritual opening that lasted for months, where there was just love. There was just love, me, everything, everywhere. And so that's why I do have an experience of that, a memory. If something came in that started then shining, let's say, from the inside out and started moving through all the layers that I didn't even know were there. And that's the process for all of us. But when you start realizing that this self we call self-love, so it is basically connecting with and embodying and leaning into the true being, the truth of who you already are. As long as we reject, exclude, push away, resist any single part of us, any single part of us, and that includes the part that is resisting, judging, criticizing. When we start including that in the love, we don't need to do anything with these parts, but we can just allow them to be part of the love that is already here, that I already am. So it for many of us, I think it starts with learning to allow the parts that we are resisting and trying to fix or trying to get rid of and judge, starting out with just like allowing them to be here too. Just that, it can give you a nice sense of relief. It's like, oh my God, I don't have to try so hard anymore. I can just let them be here. So, and then of course there's a deepening and we can start listening, let our awareness go into these parts, let them speak, start listening to them, and then automatically, it's kind of an automatic thing when we really feel what's inside of these contractions that we want to get rid of. We start listening, there is an innocence, there is part of us that has been hurt badly, and we had to contract around it, and we pushed it this side or that side or out there. And then it is so much easier to love these parts because we realize and feel deeply what is inside of this contraction. What is the wound? What is the fear, the anger, the grief? And then we let that flow so that that contraction starts softening. And then, either the tears or the screams or whatever it is, the shaking, can finally start moving. And there is this saying, I don't know if it's from the Bible, but it's something like God abhors a vacuum. God abhors a vacuum. So if we create a vacuum by kind of like softening this harshness or hardness or contraction around these parts, as soon as we do that, the energy starts moving and whoosh, The divine abhors a vacuum, so it comes right in. It comes right in. So basically, the way we experience that, it could be through an energy, it could certainly be through a warmth, love. Love is often there. There's this sense of compassion and love for these parts that we have been rejecting and trying to get rid of. So then, this part that was denied love is now filled with love. So we are now embodying and experiencing more love. As long as we have these contractions, we don't feel love there. And therefore, we want somebody from out there to give it to us. And when somebody may finally give it to us, we're so contracted that we can't even receive it. So then we keep looking for more and keep saying, see, nobody loves me, or whatever it is. It's in all of us. That's the matrix lie that we were all born into. It's like at the core of everything. And you really can't heal it. You need to see through it and just bring love there and be the love. So the more we fill up with love from within, because we're not denying it to ourselves anymore, then these parts that were suffering, limited, in pain, all the things that we don't like, that we really want to get rid of, now they're being filled up with love. And that's why I said in the beginning, the only place where there is suffering and pain and limitation and all these things that don't feel good, that only exists outside of love. And since I am, same I am for you, since I am love, I need to be that love here. And then there won't be suffering and pain and whatnot. That exists outside of love, outside of I am, outside of, or maybe I should say, the suffering exists inside of these contractions that we are denying love. When we let love in, you will notice that pain, suffering, all these things, they start dissolving. For most of us, it doesn't happen overnight, if I can just repeat myself, because there are many, many layers. For many perceived, forgotten lifetimes, the contractions still live there as memories of like, ooh, I don't want to do that again. I'm staying contracted and protected. So the only way and place to get rid of all these things we want to get rid of is basically to stop trying to get rid of them and instead allowing them to be here, letting ourselves fully experiencing them, and then see what happens. And when that one starts dissolving and the divine rushes in because it abhors a vacuum, it wants to fill it up. It's almost like it's sitting here waiting everywhere. It's everywhere, but it's kind of waiting for just the opportunity to rush in when we allow it, when we stop defending ourselves and protecting ourselves from it. So you can see it all comes down to ourselves. It all comes down to allowing love to fill every part of us. And only you and I can do that. We can't do it as a doing, but we can do it as a willingness to soften the parts, to be present inside and outside the parts that are still hiding and protecting and resisting. So it's really in the protective layers. That's where our work is. Once we start softening the protection in a safe place, absolutely. Don't just go and do that in front of anybody. Do it with somebody where you feel safe, so that it feels safe to just soften that protection. With somebody where you don't feel you need to protect yourself because you feel that you won't be judged or slammed or ridiculed or whatever for having this that you may deem imperfect. It's like everything goes, because that's the only way things can shift, and we can embody more love. I hope this resonates with you. It's a big part of my work, my expression, my passion. It really became so clear to me many years ago. And that's when I wrote my book, Imagine Being Kind to Yourself. I could also have called it Imagine Loving Yourself. But for most people, that's too big of a leap. So starting to be kind to yourself, that's something we can start doing, but loving ourselves when we hate ourselves, that's a big challenge for many. But being kind to the parts that we hate, then, there's a new relationship that's being built with the parts that we have pushed out, so that it feels like we have parts, instead of realizing I'm one, I am that, I am. Dear ones, if you want to explore this deeper, I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter in the link below. You can also join me this coming Tuesday, January 7th, for my monthly online gathering, where we really start exploring the longing of the heart and allow that to start coming out and connect deeper with it. That really is our divine voice piece, or mouthpiece, I think I should say. And you can also, if you want, sign up for a 20 or 30-minute discovery session with me, where we will just explore and see if you really want to do this deeper work with me, or if we're not a good fit. I'm just putting out some offerings, and you can see whatever resonates with you and then go with that. All right. Well, I wish you a lot of self-love for the rest of the day and the rest of your life. Be well.